Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Sports Oriented Wokeism Show. I'm your host, Solomon Wafo, and in this show, it's all about digging deep into the world of sports culture, which is being infected by wokeism. And wokeism, as you all know, or for those who don't know, let me remind you, is that wokeism is a political agenda that is liberal and progressive, that is a combination of ignorance and arrogance in order to censor free speech, jail those who are conservative, and uh, produce authoritarian dictatorship in a society or in a nation. And that's what is happening across the West. You don't find such nonsense in Latin America. Okay, yes, there are some countries, but not majority. In Africa, you don't see that. And also, in the third world countries in Asia, you don't see such things. It only happens to rich countries. Do you know why? It's because their moral values have disappeared and decimated every single day, every single hour. Why? Because they have allowed their flesh, they have allowed their you know sinful thinking and mentality to enter into that society, and that is why wokeism is not just a political agenda. It is an evil, should I say, takeover of society, and it's not good to all kinds of society, to all manner of race, and it's really going to hurt everybody. So, but on my side of things, it's all about sports, because wokeism is not just happening in sports; it's also happening in politics, happening in entertainment, it's happening in the corporate world, it's also happening in even in families and neighborhoods across the world. And that goes to tell you that it can penetrate all types of walls and windows if you allow it to enter into it. But that is just an intro of my show. I'm your Solomon Ofo once again to those who are watching me for the first time. But for those who have been there from day one, the day ones, thank you so much for your contributions in the previous episodes. Really grateful for the feedback, and I know this episode is going to be better than the previous one. But without further ado, as you can see today, I'm wearing the referee t-shirt. Why? Because it looks like the referee has blown the whistle, and I'm going to title this episode "Dead Spin Has Been Spinned Dead." I know it doesn't make sense, but I'll explain to you why I made up that title. Dead Spin Has Been Spinned Dead. Now, you may think, oh, maybe it fell off the wheels of a certain vehicle. That's a good guess, but it's more than just falling off the vehicles. You know what happens when wheels fall off vehicles? Then they suddenly crash, and if you are inside the vehicle, if you're not careful, then you can die inside the vehicle. So that's what is happening to Deadspin as of today, being the 12th of March 2024. Now, Deadspin is like Outkick, but more liberal, more progressive. The way it started, almost 20 years ago, through a certain man by the name of Lay Leitch, yeah, Will Leitch, who started it in 2005, based in Chicago. Now, of course, he started it alone, writing his own blogs, numerous number of blogs per day, grew and grew its audience, and it became, should I say, one of the uh, best independent sports pop/pop culture blogs across America and even globally, to the point that it is, favored by many to really look for, the news that is happening across sports and entertainment and even a bit of politics. But as of recent years, we have seen Deadspin going woke. Now, Deadspin is like Sports Illustrated. Deadspin is like ESPN, even though ESPN's time is not yet, but it is going to come. When you go woke, meaning when you start neglecting your audience, when you start focusing on pleasing the elite, pleasing the handlers who pay your bills, or who pay or who write them checks, then trust me, your creativity is gone, thrown out of the window. Critical thinking is thrown out of the window. Your common sense, facts, and reality thrown out of the window. You know why? Because you are pleasing the elite. You are pleasing your handlers. You are pleasing the person who is writing your checks. You are pleasing the person who gives you your salary or wage, not thinking twice on what you are doing. Oh, and by the way, you even lose your uh, professionalism, and that's what is happening at Deadspin. Now, the reason why I titled this episode "Deadspin has been spinned dead" is because as of yesterday, as reported by many sources across news media and online, that the owner of Deadspin, Goka Media, or in short, capital G slash capital O Media, sold Deadspin to Lineup Publishing. And once that sale was approved and done, as a result of the sale, all the staff members of Deadspin were laid off. Now, do you know what that means? Unemployment for all the workers of Deadspin. Now, you may say it's bad news for the workers. I can't blame all of them. But the one person who made this thing to happen is by the name of this black woke journalist at Deadspin, and his name is Caron J. Phillips. Yes, Caron J. Phillips. He's the one who made this company he's working for to be in this fate. Why do I say that? And by the way, it's not the first time Deadspin has been woke. You know, there was another time they published a story criticizing Mike McDaniel, who is now the current head coach of the Miami Dolphins. But back then, that was in 2002 when they published it, he was the offensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, and they criticized him and calling him, as in quotes, another young white guy. Can you imagine? Yet, Mike McDaniel is not just white, he is biracial. You see what happens when you neglect facts and reality and go in work? Then that is the fate you're getting. It's not the first time. That is just another case study to look at. There's another story talking about Sage Steele. Sage Steele, as you all know, former employee at ESPN, one of the most recognizable female anchors there. Deadspin published an article in 2021 calling Sage Steele the Black Candace Owens. But the fact is that Sage Steele is biracial and Candace Owens is black. But what do they share in common is they are both conservative. But what did Deadspin do? They decided to flip the script. They decided to change some facts and reality so that they can please the elite. And you know what happens? They were criticized. You see, when you're doing the same thing and you expect a different result, it's not going to work that way. Now they try to use different stories and use the same tactic to bring more value and profits to the company. But what they didn't know is that it is going to be a matter of time that that business or that company will cease to exist, or all their staff members will be laid off because they have refused to either retract their articles or their content or apologizing for what they have done, but rather they just keep quiet. They think, oh, it's going to sell. You see, that's why I told you in the previous episode, racism is a very profitable industry in America. If you sell fake racism across media, it is going to sell. That is just in the moment. But in the long run, it is going to cause problems. And that's what you've seen in Sports Illustrated, trying to please the alphabet mafia. And what happens? Profits went down, workers were being laid off, and that's what you get. You F around, you find out. If you want to find the original short clip of that, check it on TikTok or Instagram, you'll get many of such things being used. And that's what happened to Deadspin yesterday. The company was sold to Lineup Publishing. Immediately the sale was done. All the workers under Deadspin were fired, including Caron J. Phillips. And what does that tell you? And who is the referee in this case? It is Lineup Publishing. You know why? Because they are the boss, they're the ones who bought Deadspin, and at the same time they have a right to send off anybody that goes against the rules. And that's what we are seeing in the corporate world. Deadspin did that, and they got the consequence that they were looking for. So, you F around, you find out. If you go work, you go broke. If you neglect, if you ignore facts plus be arrogant, then you're going to be criticized. You can't walk away from that. That's what happened to Sports Illustrated. That's what happened to Victoria's Secret. That's what happened to Bud Light, even though Bud Light is not entirely sports related, but of course it's a sponsor in many of the sports events. Now it has happened to Deadspin as of today, even though the thing happened yesterday as reported. So that's what happens when you go work, you go broke. Or instead of go broke, you go jobless. You go work, go jobless. Go work, go broke. Yeah. And that's a case study for future generations to learn from. That is why when it comes to looking for sports news or sports culture content, they rather go to YouTube and look for independent content creators like myself, for example, and get the reality or get the gist, the real gist behind all these headlines that they are seeing on the liberal media. That's what is happening. That's why the future of sports media is YouTubers, is TikTokers, is citizen journalists. It's not these people working for ESPN or working for NBC Sports or working for TNT. No, that's not the future. The future is YouTubers, TikTokers, Instagram content creators in the sports world, and so and even Twitchers. Yeah, that's the future. We are seeing it in real time. Why? Because they're more authentic, they're funnier, their content is more unique, and I'm sure most of these future sports journalists that are working digitally, most of them did not go to journalism school. If not all, some of them. That's where you get the raw, authentic, unfiltered sports content, either culturally or on the field. That's where the future is. And we are seeing that happen in real time. It is gaining traction now, but counting 5 to 10 years later, that is where the news will be getting from. Not from this broadcast media, the legacy media. No, it's coming from YouTube and Twitch and TikTok and Instagram when it comes to sports content. So that's it I wanted to share with you. I hope this is something that has entertained you and has informed you of what is happening across the sports cultural world. Yeah. And I hope you get to you put down your contributions in the comment section on whatever platform you use, either YouTube or you're watching it also on social media. Make sure you put your feedback, and I'll be very glad to receive and even respond where possible. And for those of you who are new, if you're watching it on YouTube or on social media, the links will be there in the description below. Making sure that you get to click like, make sure you follow it, make sure you subscribe if you're on YouTube, make sure you share it to the loved ones, and let's keep the conversation going. And I know this channel is going to grow, and the world will not see this coming. It will come like a tsunami. So help me so that I can help you grow this channel. Let's make it a win-win game for all of us. But until the next episode, which is tomorrow on the 13th of March, is goodbye from me, Solomon Wafua.